Today's a day, fam. I don't know if you know it or not, but it's not a negative context. I just keep hearing it's a sunny day. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be a lot of solar activity today. You know what I'm saying? You can feel things intensifying right now. You know what I'm saying? You might have blurred vision or fuzzy vision, or you might be seeing or feeling things intensely. You might be experiencing space. You know what I'm saying? Where you're not really hearing or holding on to anything. Blankness is what I'm also hearing with this energy. Like, this is a very meditative energy for those who actually pay attention to it, you know, which is really important, because when there's a lot of plasma, a lot of solar energy, it can make things very chaotic outside of ourselves, and we feel that friction. And they're also mentioning the term cortisol, which, because our bodies get excited when they respond to the energy in the way that they do, when they're responding to all the plasma in the air and the outside atmospheres. You know, it's like everything's a lot more hotter and intense than normal days, or most days, is what you realize when there's a lot of particulate or solar particulate in the air. Energy resonates, fam. You know what I'm saying? You know, we get to see the orchestration of how this stuff works and how it influences the things around us by being the observer and paying attention to these things, you know? And, you know, there's a beauty to it, you know what I'm saying? And there's a vibe to the clarity that you receive when you observe these things, you know? So, you know, that's also a piece, like, the piece of observance that lets you see the broad spectrum of things that are actually happening inside of you and in front of you, you know? And that's that divine perspective that we may not be used to, but we're getting like flashes of insight right now, is what I'm feeling, you know? Maintaining a little bit of balanced discipline right now and not allow yourself to engage in trigger behavior would probably be the best, you know? For there's usually around this time, there's excessive agitation, there's traumas coming up, there's triggers all over the place, you know, because a lot of us don't understand the power of the sun and the influence that it has on our bodies. And this is why we talk about the central nervous system, because that's that extra sensory perception that you have the ability to use and have, right? And that's the central nervous system. It's your interpretation device of all things everywhere. It's spirit in form, you know what I'm saying, in a body. And these are the roots that you understand that are inside of yourself, but are remotely connected to everything around you. And I believe there's people that are starting to realize that, or see how we are connected to everything and everything is us. We are connected to everything and everything is connected to us, you know? So, you know, if this type of clarity is coming up in your experience and you don't necessarily know how to deal with it, it's just breathe it out, dude, because you can get anxiety very easy, especially where there's all this solar energy around. You know, we can get excited, we can get agitated, be burned out by 3 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And I know that some people have done that before, or have been unaware that this does happen as a rhythm, as a pattern, as a natural sense to our outer environment, to our atmosphere, you know? And this is also part of that hyper perception and that clarity that comes in at these times, that sees that you just see things so clearly that it might be fucking with you and you might be questioning it somehow, you know? So don't do that, you know, because we get the opportunity to see if we're just trying to control, we're trying to determine, or we're trying to just kind of label what the fuck is going on and make an excuse for it somehow, is what they just said. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to do that. We want to honor what is true, you know, and authentic to you, is what I also need to tell you here, you know. So you know, they're using the term particles, you know, everything is particles in form, and we are porous, we're not solid, right? So when it comes to understanding energy, and this is something that we teach in the energy healing space, we teach about the flow of the chi and the particles that actually move through you simultaneously. If you study physics or you understand anything about physics, you know about particle behavior and you know about particle movement. And this is all about intention. And when you look at it from that aspect, there's a mist to things. You know what I'm saying? You are a profound mist in form, in a sense. And then you understand how the ether works in that space, you know? And it's sort of a mastery space that we teach there, but also at the same time, we understand how energy flows, moves, how we're not solid, we're porous, how we move with life, and life moves with us simultaneously. It's a connection like no other. And I believe a lot of people are kind of like embracing that more and more now, because they want to find peace, they want to find balance. They just want to live their lives, and they want to be better. They want to enjoy the benefits of being able to live their lives freely. And that's part of our sovereignty, so if that type of stuff is calling to you right now, it's no surprise because we're here, it's happening, it's now, and it's always now, and being in the present moment and realizing that it's always now is really important, right? For those of us who know. Yeah, man, this is ascension for sure, dude. But a lot of us need to use a practical observation to what's happening here. It's very divine. It's very sacred. It's very beautiful. Honoring and connecting that is really important, dude. Birds of a feather flock together. Remember, you and I are one and the same. I am you, you are me, and we are all this reality, right? And these are the mantras that are coming into our awareness, and we're becoming more clear of, because we're actually experiencing little small visions here and there of what oneness actually looks like, about being connected to the universe, or being connected to spirit, or being connected to the divine, or ascending to where your psychic abilities somehow have evolved, or you have extrasensory perception that you didn't have yesterday or the day before. These type of behaviors happen during around this time if we honor the promise that the sun or the solar array gives us. And this is how back in the day people used to worship the sun, and this is why the Mayans wore the gold plates on their chest. You know what I'm saying? It's because we were one with the sun, and we knew that, and it's basically God, God is the sun, is how they worshiped it. You know what I'm saying? But it's so much more. It's the divine spark. It's what gives everything life here. You know what I'm saying? And that's also inside of each and every one of you. And this is what the sun teaches us when we pay attention. You know what I'm saying? When we listen, when we observe, because we are the ones who experience this knowledge, you know what I'm saying, for ourselves, and embrace those things for ourselves. These are the sacred practices and the divine teachings. Some people will call it esoteric, but you know what I'm saying? When you're paying attention to this stuff, you honor the practice for what it is, because you realize that you're a part of it and it is you. So that's kind of like a different way of looking at things right now. It's very, we have the ability to embrace the intensity of what God provides for us, the universe, or we can just kid ourselves into thinking that it's just another warm fucking sunny day and shit's kind of shitty right now. You know what I'm saying? We got options, fam. And I believe this is what the divine is showing us and teaching us right now. It's like how to get real and take a fucking break at the hostility or the panic or the survival movements that we normally make, to watch the pattern behavior, to correct the repetitive behaviors that are actually keeping us from manifesting abundance, moving to a higher location, a better location. You know what I'm saying? The things that people really want inside is what the universe is literally dangling in front of people's faces to say, hey, do you want this? Well, give me this. Right? And it's a reciprocation space. And we have to honor the reciprocation space regardless of how it feels. Because we are closing doors and we are opening doors. And this is how we learn how to close and open doors, as part of our divine teachings and sacred practices that we're here to honor in one way or another, to better understand ourselves. These are the sacred practices, fam. These are the things that people don't necessarily know about, don't take seriously. I'm not going to say that they take it for granted, because if you take it for granted, it's nothing but promise, you know what I'm saying? But also at the same time, we have to be mindful of our actions and our behaviors in one way or another, because these trigger responses only create friction between you and life itself, and what resonates and what flows smoothly to you, you know what I'm saying, for you, for everyone else, given the opportunity to rise with you, for whatever way that means. These are sacred practices that we better understand ourselves as healers, especially healers. Get a better understanding and a more in-depth understanding, 1155, as I say this, about who they are, what they do, and how really truly passionate they are about life itself and what they do. And here we are. We honor those practices in our space. And, a lot of people don't necessarily know how to commit to these things because they're unaware of how these sacred practices actually work, that are actually divine teachings that are meant as a part of our promise to understand here. This isn't, it's not a kid's game. We're not, laughter is something that's optional, especially when you come to understand these things, because now you're in the presence of understanding what it is to be in joy, what the truth of joy and happiness actually looks like, what success actually looks like, because you've already done the opposite. and you've built something while you were tearing it down, only to show you exactly what's in front of you right now. Okay? And when those doors open for you, when you have these revelations and these realizations, you realize that divine's promise is right there in your favor. And that's what they want you to pay attention to now, because everything around you doesn't matter necessarily. Unless you have family, unless you have friends, unless you have community and connections, honor those connections and release and remove and allow those connections that no longer serve you, that keep you in an old time space, to release themselves, and you walk through the new door embracing whatever God's promise is for you on the other side. This is how we walk through doors, fam. It's all orchestrated, you know. This isn't a metaphor to, oh yeah, you gotta, well, you, for one closed door, you close one door, you open another. This is how divine prophecy works in that favor. And we're telling each and every one of you to better understand what divine promise actually looks like, because it shows up in your face. You know, and I believe that, you know, I don't know, I'm seeing Virgo. So when I think about Virgo energy, Virgo has a very beautiful, solid energy, very loyal, authentic, can be extremely grounded, right? But the majority of the time, it's anxiety and overthinking, you know? That's the mask here, fam. There really isn't a reason to process or overprocess anything right now, because you're allowing the flow of the magic from within you to control that, you know, or to remove that, or to balance that out by giving you realizations the more you pay attention to it right now. And if you honor that, then you connect with it and you understand that there's truth to it. It's mind-blowing stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? But when we honor the teachings, this is what it teaches us. When we honor the teacher, it teaches us. The sun is a teacher. Your plants are your teacher. Your friends, your foes are all teachers. You know what I'm saying? And you're stewards and students of the Creator itself. And this is what we go through to better understand ourselves. And we understand this orchestration and the mechanics to come back and navigate our reality in a more conscious way. And this is what we teach people in our camp. You know, if you're interested in learning more about that, or you would like a reading this evening, or this afternoon, excuse me, they're just $25 today. You know what I'm saying? If you'd like a reading here. Otherwise, we have a one-on-one space where you can go check out fourcornershealing37.com and see what services we have available for you. There are many services. We encourage people to ask questions all the time, because it's divinely led, you know? And we don't know where we're going till we know where we're going. And that's what we're doing, is what Spirit is saying. So. Faith matters. That's what's up, dude. Faith matters. It's a beautiful blessing to even hear confirmation like that. And realize that whatever you may be going through, or whatever transition you're under, it's meant to happen. And you should be more happier about that regardless. Because you're stronger than whatever it is that you're fucking dealing with anyway. Right? You just got to find out how, and God shows that to you on the way. It's beautiful. When you can look at it with a humble heart. You're not being punished anymore. You see the value in everything. You know what I'm saying? You see the light. Everything looks brighter, clearer to you. More than others. Because why? They're not as dingy. They're dingy. They're unclear. You know, and then you start to see the dinginess and the unclearness and everything. And it's a beautiful feeling to know that you're that bright and open in God's heart to see everything unfold, because God's literally showing it to you all the time. It's a beautiful thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's available. You just gotta open your heart. You know? A lot of us, you know, we don't realize how easy it is till we get to the other side, you know? But then you can share it with somebody, and maybe they don't have to go through half as much to get there. Or be more courageous to experience what they're meant to experience to get where they want to go, or where they want to be, or their path or their place. That's what healers do, lady. Okay? I'm here for the party, lady. All right? I come out here with intentions. All right? I just let you know. Okay? I come with a battle plan every time I come on, man. It's medicine, man. That's what we're here to give. You know? And then we go about our business because we know our way. That's what we do. It's nice to have purpose. It really is. It's wonderful. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for that type of energy healing, if you're looking to learn more or know more about this type of energy healing, how to practice presence, how to learn about your energy system, and how to manipulate your energy system to heal others while healing yourself and better understand yourself, we have these courses available on our website. The link is in the bio at fourcornershealing37.com. Okay? You can learn this too. All right? But remember, there's no one who's going to learn it like you. What's up, Megan? Oh, hi, lady. We're having a lovely day. Not much. The devil, distraction. All good, bro. All good, bro. All right. If I needed I can't wear my sunglasses on live. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be wearing them right now because it's nice and sunny. And I know exactly what to do with it. And we were talking about that earlier in the collective, about being the people of the sun. Here we are, you know, knowing what to do with it, knowing to have gratitude, knowing that a blessing has been placed upon us on this day, like every day. Bam. It's powerful. It's motivating. And for some, overwhelming, you know. But that's what spiritual discipline and practice and teachings are all about. The objectivity that it takes to get there. And how much we could try to control things along the way. Sun every chance I get. Yeah, you got to open up to who you are anyway. Might as well. Don't get a sunburn, though. Does anybody have any questions? Need time to absorb? Have any revelations? Just curious. Because these things can be very eye-opening and overwhelming for some, you know what I'm saying? Or some people can actually be happy and appreciate the fact that, you know, somebody opened them up to give them a different perspective on what life is all about and how it actually works, and actually give them value instead of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that beautiful? You know, because I can even observe myself, you know, and that's what I did the majority of the time that I was healing, was observing myself, my actions, my behaviors. And believe it or not, I learned a lot from it, just like each and every one of you are learning from it too. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a shaman's journey. It's your rite of passage to be the divine being that you're meant to be and stepping into who you are anyway. You know? It's the hero's journey, fam. All right? Life is about success and your ability to maintain it. If you'd like a reading, for those of you, welcome in. We just got in here. I'm doing them for $25. The link is in the bio. Just up, done and how you donated. You know, tell me if you resonated. I'd be more than happy to do a reading for you. If you'd like a more private one-on-one space, we have Sacred Soul Counsel on the website. Private Counsel is what it's called. You can click on any of us, whether it's myself, Caroline, D, or Megan on there. You know what I'm saying? If you prefer feminine over masculine, it doesn't matter. That space is always about the truth and honoring oneself and yourself, and we honor you the way that you honor yourself. We don't match your energy, but we just match you as the divine being that you are, and we treat you that way, unless you want to be treated some other way. I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Because we all need a place of peace and honor the sacred practice, and we create that temple for you to honor the divine space and whatever communication you need to have. It's a sacred space. It's like a teepee, man. You know, to honor yourself. And invest in yourself and involve in yourself. Is what Spirit just said.